What is going on, everyone? Trust the Buzz here. If you're new to the channel, I make Charlotte Hornets content, so if that interests you, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. If you cannot tell by the thumbnail title of this video, in today's video, we're doing another mock draft for the Charlotte Hornets. It's something I haven't done in a while. It's obviously something you want, especially considering the Hornets are in the playoffs. A lot of off-season videos are coming soon, but if you have any ideas or anything you want me to cover, make sure you leave that in the comment section down below. Also, just please subscribe. I'm close to 1,000, so that would really help if you were to subscribe. And if you really want more in-depth draft content, I have a draft channel that I will link down in the description below, where I do a lot of actual draft coverage. So if you're interested in a draft like me, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to that. Now, as you can tell, this is a little different. I'm actually using my webcam instead of my camera, instead of setting it up. I figured this will be maybe make it easier. I'm trying to produce the best amount of content I can. So let's hopefully this works out. But anyway, let's just go ahead and get into the mock draft. If you're new and haven't seen me do one of these mock drafts before, the way I'm doing this is I just go based on what's on Tankathon, and I'm going to continue to do that until the draft lottery, just because we don't know the order. It's not possible the Hornets will pick fourth. I think it adds a little variety, so that's why I like doing it that way. I have to get used to looking up here, but that's the best way we can get some variety. Until the Hornets actually have a solidified spot, I'm going to continue to do that. But once they get that spot, we'll, do it that way. But until then, we're just going to sit in the lottery, and I'm going to do all the picks. I think it's 4 picks, maybe 5 picks. It's 2 firsts, 3 seconds. So yeah, it's 5 picks, and I'm going to do all of them. No trades, just because they're hard to predict, even though I'm pretty sure the Hornets will trade probably a few of their second round picks. But anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video. So what I'm about to do is go on my favorite website, Tankathon, which they have updated the player rankings in 24 days. And I'll make note of that depending on where we land and who we're picking and stuff. But this is what we got. If you got a better website, let me know down in the comment section below, because that's something I actually really want to do if there is a better website. But until then, this is what we're working with. So we're just going to send the lottery and see who we get. And the Hornets pick. This has never happened. This has never happened when I do these mock drafts. There's no doubt who we're picking. We're picking Wemby, but this has just never happened. Obviously, I've done the sim and we've gotten Wemby before, but never for a video. So, that part's done. Getting Wemby is the best thing that could happen to the Charlotte Hornets. I just feel as though it says center, more than likely going to play power forward. It's not typical, obviously, in today's NBA to have 2 bigs. One with Mark, in this case, would be one with Mark Williams, one with Victor Wembanyama. But defensively, Mark Williams, I think, is leaps and bounds better than Victor Wembanyama. Victor Wembanyama gets a lot of blocks, but as far as guarding the paint itself and being against other bigs, he doesn't do too well. So I would be more than likely to put him on like someone who just really isn't active. Everybody on their team, I don't care what team you are, no matter how good you are, you have a player who's not that much of a threat on offense. I would just put Victor on maybe one of those guys, just because of not the fact that he can't defend at all. It's more likely that he will be able to defend him, and then he could use a lot of his prowess on offense, because that's really what we're getting Victor Wembanyama for. We're not getting him for his defense. You're getting him for how good he can be offensively. If the defense comes around and you're okay with that. But yeah, I'm definitely taking Victor Wembanyama. He's 7'5", as you can see, 220. He does need to maybe put on a little weight, which may help him guard in the paint, but there's so much he does offensively. I think he can hit it from anywhere, even though he's not the world's best 3-point shooter. I know we see all the highlights of him hitting these crazy threes. It's not quite like that. His 3-point percentage is around 28%, but he does take a lot of crazy threes as well. So that's part of it. As you can see, his blocks are high. I think he's really good at just knowing how to block. But to me, there's a difference, especially we see with Nick Richards. Nick Richards gets a lot of blocks, actually, but he's not that good of a paint defender. Same with Victor Wembanyama. No problem with that whatsoever. He's easily the best player, but obviously there are going to be some downsides or cons to anybody. So that's just his. But the Hornets luckily have Mark Williams to back that up. Now, how they're going to handle that, I don't know. I think their best bet is to Mark worked his butt off to become the starting center. So the best bet, even if you get Victor Wembanyama, is to put Mark at center and just have Victor at the power forward position and figure everything else later. Just because of the fact that it's just like I said, Mark Williams worked his butt off. We needed a center center for so long. We finally got one. No need to change it, even if you get Victor Wembanyama, especially when he could play a different position. So there's not too much to keep going with that. Let me know if you agree with that down in the comment section. I really would like to know, because I definitely want to hear more about y'all's draft thoughts. And our next pick is what, 20 something? I don't even know what it is. It could change, right? Because of the Nuggets. Anyway, as of right now, it's 27. They have us taking Marcus Sasser. So once again, if you're new, I don't be like, oh, this guy wouldn't go here. No, I only base on anyone after. So anyone after 27 after, they're free game for me to pick for the Charlotte Hornets. And in this case, with what we are given, in reality, I would trade. There's not anything worth picking at 27, not somebody you can get like as good later. But since we're sticking and picking, I will probably go with. Oh man, this is tough. This is actually really tough. I would probably go with CD Sissoko, just because of the fact that he can provide some two-way play on the wings. I'm not sure he's going to be a guy that can come in and start right away, even though he's drafted in the first round. A lot of times people think the first round players need to be starters. This is not the NFL. NFL draft last night, it was crazy, by the way. But the Panthers got Bryce Young, and that's all that matters. And Lamar got paid, so that's also good. And they got him a weapon, so that's also good. Anyway, for basketball, CD Sissoko, I think he's going to provide like some two-way. I think it's going to take some time for him to grow and become a better basketball player. But overall, you see the skill set there. That's really what you're banking on with this pick. Like I said, we're sticking and picking. In reality, the Hornets will probably trade for this if the board ends up this way. But right now, I'm just going with CD Sissoko. There's so much you can do. Let's see if I can just open this up in a new tab, because when you click, it gets rid of the whole draft order. So we can just show. And so what I like is that he does have a knack for getting steals and getting blocks. Like, he averaged 1 block a game, 1 steal a game. It could be better. But like I said, I think that's just going to take some time. The G League Ignite are not good, so that's one thing you got to think about. That team is not really that good, so it hurts a lot of those players. Those players who are not Jalen Green or Scoot Henderson, it hurts those guys because it makes them look worse. But that whole team is just built to make that one guy really good. It's just weird when you're trying to evaluate players from G League Ignite, and also in this case the Thompson twins, who that whole league just seems it's just weird, but. I think he can play make. I think he has a decent ability to play make. As you can see, he has 3.1 assists. And also, I didn't even see this. His assist to usage, assist to turnover ratio, good. And assist is a good skill set of his, and which is something that I think the Hornets could use. Terry Rozier can do that, but Terry Rozier can't defend. So if you can get someone that can play make a little bit next to LaMelo Ball, and he does not need to score. That's what I like about CD Sissoko. He does not necessarily need to score to impact the game. I would definitely like to see his 3-point percentage go up, but I'm not mad at that at all, considering what we're bringing him in for, which is a wing that can guard, play make, and that's really it. That's what all we needed you to do to start off. And then obviously he can score on cuts. I think he has a crafty, unique way of attacking the basket. But other than that, his skill set is pretty, I wouldn't say limited, but it's not nothing that jumps out at you yet. Once again, he's only 19 years old, so he has plenty of time to grow. I think he'll get better. It's just, as of right now, I think that will be the best pick if we're sticking and picking. So next pick is 34. And, oh, man, I really like Jaime Jaquez here. But then you have, all right, Darren Holmes as well, or Deron Holmes as well. Oh, man, this makes it tough. I would go, but I can't. Okay, so I'm basing off this. I would go, I think I would go Deron Holmes. I think I would go Deron Holmes over Jaime Jaquez. I like Jaime Jaquez. In fact, on my draft channel, I have a whole video explaining how Jaime Jaquez coming off the bench for any NBA team, I think he can contribute day one because he has such a knack for scoring the ball in so many different ways, whether he's down low in the paint, or he's shooting threes, or he's pulling up on mid-range, or he's taking advantage of his size on smaller guards, or he's just quicker than the big guys, the big wings they put on him. I think he's just going to be a complete mismatch for anybody off the bench. But what I am thinking here is if you get Deron Holmes, I think he's a guy that can replace PJ. And I don't want to technically replace PJ. I really like PJ. I think he has gotten better this year. However, he's going to be expensive. If you can get a guy who can kind of do a lot of the same things as PJ, but cheaper, I think you take that option. To be honest, this decision has nothing to do with PJ. It has everything to do about building your whole team. And sometimes you got to make sacrifices. They're literally the same build. I like DaRon Holmes a little more. I think he is coming out as a better defender than PJ was when he was coming out. But he doesn't have. I know the points say that he scored 18 points a game. Obviously he did, but it's not in the way I think PJ scores. Because PJ we've seen can catch fire. DaRon Holmes is not necessarily that way. It's more of like a Julius Randle type. But that works. They're in the playoffs. I know Julius Randle has not been the best player in these playoffs, but it works. And like I said, if you can replace what PJ does with someone a lot cheaper, I think you take that risk, especially in the second round. I'm going to DaRon Holmes for the first second round pick of the 2023 NBA draft for the Charlotte Hornets, even though I really, really like Jaime Jaquez. Now we're at 39. So at 39, I think they got it right. Julian Strawther is probably going to be the guy I would go with. Andre Jackson Jr. is someone to think about as well because he's just an overall very talented player. He's not a scorer, but he's just a mature guy to have on the court. He is a decent playmaker. He can defend. That's really what I like about him. And he knows just when to cut. He's just a smart basketball player. Good to have that. He's another guy who I believe could contribute right away almost on any NBA team. Obviously, if you're just a deep team like the Clippers, it may be a little difficult. But other teams, I think he would be really helpful, like the Heat. I know I use the Heat a lot, but they're just after Jimmy Butler and Tyler Hero and sometimes Bam, that's it. So it's just really easy to throw players at them, but I really do feel like he would be a good fit for them. But for us, Julian Strawther, I think he would be excellent. He is an excellent three-point shooter, 6'7" wing. I mean, you could put that next to LaMelo Ball, and while he's not the world's best defender in the world, I do think that he has a size similar to LaMelo Ball, where you know it's going to come around. It's just going to take some time. They have to buy into it. We've seen LaMelo Ball buy into it this year. I think he still gets in a little foul trouble too busy trying to make the big play, which it works a majority of the time, but sometimes it leads him to being in foul trouble. I don't think we'll see that with Julian Strawther. However, I don't think he'll just be some elite lockdown defender. But in the second round, you're taking what you can get, and what we really need is shooting. I think we need shooting more than anything. The team has shown that they can ramp up the defense. At one point, they were a top 10 defense in the NBA. I think Julian Strawther, you can't go wrong with him. Like I said, the 3.40, basically 41% from three, hit that big shot in this past tournament to have them move on. I think was it to the Elite Eight? I believe it was to the Elite Eight. So Julian Strawther, I think he's just a big play guard. I think that he's going to be obviously the main person we go to on catch and shoot. He can replace someone like Kelly Oubre, so we don't have to necessarily pay Kelly Oubre. That's kind of what I would do. That's kind of my mindset going into this. He is an older player, and I say older, but he's only, 21 years old. But the Hornets struggle with taking really, really young guys. It just seems like that's been the kind of their thing. JT Thor's kind of making a name for himself, but other guys, it's just struggle city. I don't know. I just don't want them to take too many young guys. Yeah, a guy who played at Gonzaga, who played at a good program. Yeah, I think he's just going to be a really valuable player for us. He can rebound, which we know the team likes to rebound as a whole, even though now we have Mark Williams. And then in this case scenario, we have Victor Wembanyama. But I'm still, obviously would go for more rebounding because, hey, if we can keep the ball, that's all that matters. And then that's really it. Really, Julian Strawther is just going to be a shooter, and that's what we need. And I think he would be – I don't know if he'll be as good a shooter in basketball IQ-wise as Zvi, because I think Zvi has been really good. I'm not saying he's this guy that's going to should take over roster spots, but I think he's been really good for us. If he priced himself out of Charlotte by the way he played towards the end of the season, this would be a really, really good person to pick up. He's not the playmaker that Zvi is, but shooting-wise, which is what we need desperately, I say it all the time, we have guys who can shoot. We don't have shooters. This is a shooter. Got to take him. So for the next pick, I think so far this draft has ended up pretty well. For the next pick, the last pick, I think our last pick as of right now, our last pick in the 2023 NBA draft, they have us taking Nikola Djurgic. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but I do know he's a pretty good player. He shot like crap this year, which I actually want to watch more Eurobasket, like the Euro League or whatever. So I might get that subscription. It's a hefty fine, but I'm willing to do it for draft sake. So it's just I don't really see it's going to be a little bit of a project with him. And right now we're just trying to put guys in the right direction. I'm not really here for a project. Maybe the Hornets are, but I'm not. So I think what the Hornets should do in this case, it would be really easy to go Ricky Council IV just because he's a guy that plays with so much energy. A lot of times he transferred into Arkansas from Wichita State, but he became like their star player, even though they had Nick Smith Jr., who's probably a top 15 pick in the NBA. Yeah, so they have him going 13 to the Toronto Raptors. He was the better player a majority of the season. Now, his skill set, his potential may not be what Nick Smith Jr. is, but I think I might have to go Ricky Council IV. I always want to call him Ricky Council Jr., but I think I have to go Ricky Council IV. I know. Look, I see the stat weakness. I see it. But when you see him play, the tenacity he plays with, the energy he plays with, that's something we could use off the bench. Also, I mean, it's 45th in this. We're picking him 45th. I'm not too hurt about that if it doesn't pan out. But you just have a guy that brings energy, and I think this team needs that. We need more guys we need some rah-rah guys. We really do. We don't have that. I mean, we had it in IT. He's gone. He was gone. I think Kelly Oubre has been that this past season. He's more than likely gone. And we just need more rah-rah guys, and we need more guys that just really put in the work and just really leave it all out on the court. And that's what Ricky Council IV will do. Now, with his stat weaknesses, I will say playing at Arkansas, playing with all those guys, that was such a talented young team, but very talented. I could see why he had to play a lot of hero ball. I could see why his stats look the way they do. He does need to improve on the shooting. And outside of just what I said of just about being that energy guy, being that cog off the bench, at least for us, he started at Arkansas, but the cog off the bench for us that just gives us a burst of energy, there's not really much he does very well. But like I said, we're picking him at 45. I'm not mad at it at all. So I think that's probably the pick I'm going to go with. But hey, we did it. That does it for this mock draft. I will probably put up a overlay of some kind of who we picked in this draft. And yeah, I like our picks. I think that will put us in a really good spot. I mean, just to go over real quick, we obviously got the first round pick. So we went Victor Wembanyama, of course, no doubt about it. And then at 27, we chose, who did we choose at 27? At 27, we went CD Sissoko just because of the fact that he can be a two-way guard that can play next to LaMelo, doesn't necessarily need the ball to be effective on the court, and I think that's going to be very important because right now, if you do LaMelo, Miles, and Victor, that's three mouths to feed. CD Sissoko, Mark Williams, hey, y'all just be there, play defense. Obviously, you'll get the ball because a lot of attention will be on those guys, so you'll have obviously open cut lanes to the basket. Take advantage of that. And I think CD Sissoko will be perfect for that with what we're given. In reality, I probably would trade this pick, but we're just sticking and picking. So I'm going CD Sissoko. At 34, I really want to go Jaime Jaquez, but I'm going with Deron Holmes as hopefully a PJ Washington replacement, not because PJ's bad, not because he's not good in any way or the Hornets don't want. I haven't heard anything. All I'm saying is Deron Holmes kind of does somewhat similar to what PJ does. Maybe not at the skill level that PJ does it, considering PJ's been in the league for a while now. Deron Holmes obviously will be a rookie. However, it would just be way more expensive, even if Deron Holmes ends up becoming PJ. It would just be way less expensive than paying PJ $20 million right now when we still don't even quite know who our second best player is. I know we're bringing in Miles Bridges. No telling what's going to happen when he comes back. No telling what kind of player he's going to be when he comes back. So it's just a lot up in the air. I'm going Deron Holmes. I think he's just going to be a really good player, and I think a lot of teams are going to wish they got him if the Hornets don't get him. Well, if the Hornets do get him, a lot of teams will say they wish they got him. Julian Strawther, just a shooter. I mean, that's what we need. I know people could be like, oh, well, he doesn't do this, or similar to the things they say about Grady Dick wherever he's at up here. But yeah, similar things to what people say about Grady Dick, but we desperately need guys that are shooters, that shoot at a high level. He shoots at a 41% clip at Gonzaga, so we know he's a poised player. He knows how to move without the ball. Like I said, he just makes big shot after big shot. Got to go Julian Strawther. And I've seen him affect the game in other ways as well with his rebounding and just being, I wouldn't say a lockdown defender, but just being tentative on defense, just paying attention on defense and just being aware of where he is on the court and understanding the defensive scheme. good enough. I mean, you don't need him to be a lockdown defender, especially at 39. And then 41 with our last pick, we went with Ricky Council the fourth. Once again, just this guy is just a pure energy guy. I mean, he's extremely athletic. We know the Hornets love their athletic wings. I think Ricky Council could be a very, very athletic guy. I think he would be playing with the right team. I know his numbers may not look the best, but he kind of played hero ball on a very young Arkansas team. He was a transfer, and he was just trying to do the best for himself because he wasn't getting that much love at Wichita State. I think at the beginning of the season, he was going crazy. Then it kind of dwindled down, but just like Arkansas, because they dwindled down as a whole. So I feel like he is going to be a decent player. I just wouldn't look too much into. I would pay attention to the film. I wouldn't pay attention to the stats, is what I'm saying about Ricky Council the fourth. But thank you so much for watching. Like I said, let me know if there's anything you want me to cover down in the comment section below. I know this video is a little different. That light, I probably need to change that. So I'll be playing around with this setup. I think it's just a little easier than having to set up the camera. And then sometimes my camera go crazy, or sometimes my wife is using the camera and then I get lazy. It's just easier because all this stuff is already set up for work. So all I got to do is just plug in my laptop, and here we are. So let me know if this setup is cool with you. Let me know if like the quality of video is good. I know now I'm looking at it, I probably need to change the lighting and whatnot. But let me know if the quality of video didn't drop off, because that's what's important to me. If y'all want me to use the camera, then I'll use the camera. But I think the webcam is doing pretty good. But thank you so much for watching. Like I said, if you really want some extreme draft content, make sure you go ahead and go in the description below and click Draft Nerds. That's my draft channel where I talk about the NBA draft all season long, college basketball all season long. Fell off a little bit this year because I moved, but next year I'm definitely going to go strong, and I'm definitely going to go strong in the actual draft upcoming. And I think I'm gonna do some stuff for the lottery as well. So make sure you go ahead and check that out. And thank you so much for watching. Peace.